Welcome back. It is March 12th, 2025. YieldMax released their Group D dividends, as you can see on their X.com account. Overall, I guess here they are. There's just a couple to call out. MSTY was $1.97, pretty solid. MSTY came in at $1.37. As I showed previously, MSTY is one of the most held, the YieldMax ETF, so I'm pointing to point that one out. And then one key thing to note, you can see Ulti here went to a weekly distribution. They get 10 cents, just above 10 cents a share. And then some of the other ones, YieldMax was at 10 cents and YMAG at 14 cents. Overall, looking at some of the comments, nothing too important that catches my eye. I guess today, there has been some NAV erosion, but hopefully today some people captured some of that back. But if you want to see what these are from a percentage basis, I did put these into my spreadsheet. So in my spreadsheet here, I took the weekly and monthly payout amounts, and I did enter them into the payout announcement date of 3/12/2025 column. Overall, just some things that catch my eye. YMAX was down from the very stellar payout from last week, down to 10 cents, bringing the percent payout to 0.72% for the week, or 37% annualized rate. YMAG was once again pretty consistently where it always is. LFGY down again slightly to 42 cents for the week, or 1.11% for the percent payout for the week. I imagine it's due to NAV destruction, causing the distribution to them be a little bit less based on a lower base. GBTY, pretty standard to what it's used to be. Ulti, probably should take this dividend out. This was the payout on a monthly basis, but no point comparing a monthly to a weekly amount. So Ulti came in at 10 cents for the week. New weekly payer year, that's 1.57% for the week, or 81% annualized. Ulti will be an interesting one to watch, and a lot of people seem to be buying into this one. It's performed quite poorly from a NAV perspective, $20 down to $6.55. But this is one where I think they use some flexibility to try to get a pretty good distribution, but the NAV destruction has been quite horrendous. I'll be watching that one to see how that one performs for that reason. And then here's QDTY and SDTY a little bit more than they were last week. And then as for the monthlies, you can see MSTY came in at $1.38. That is less than the $2.09 of last time. Still 6.81% or 81% annualized rate. And then a lot of these were pretty close to the same. I know the YQQQ was a bit higher, but AMZY a little less. Apple basically the same. AIYY 32 cents. Something to point out on AIYY is 32 cents, but it's only $5.17 per share for the ETF. So the dividend of 32 cents is pretty solid for a 6.23% payout for the month based on the current share price of the ETF. That comes in a 74% annualized rate. As always, anything I think over 5% a month is very solid. So I wanted to point that one out, as well as MSTY. And then SMCY is also doing pretty well here. There's been some definite NAV erosion from when it opened. I think it opened around 50, currently at 26, but $1.97 on the 26 base does come in at 6.56% for the month, or 90% annualized. So I guess for new people that are looking for one of these to jump into, SMCY might be something to consider if you're looking for a high monthly dividend distribution. And then QDT, I tend to follow these ones as well. I didn't go to the X.com account, but I did pull the figures in. These ones are all pretty standard. They're pretty standard, but I'd like to point out they did. Last week was definitely lower, and now they're back to where they were at. So you can see QDT at 20, QDT, XET, RTDT on the 25 to 30 cent range, and the YBTC up slightly to 32 cents per share. So those are the YieldMax payouts from a percentage basis. And then since Group D, I think I wanted to cover MSTY. I think I covered in a previous episode that MSTY was one of the largest held of the YieldMax ETFs as far as the market value component's concerned. So I went to Tableau and I tried to make a chart so you could break down kind of the history of MSTY. And you can see here, maybe I'll start with this comparison, but you can see I compare. Let's see, compare. So the first one here, I compare if you own MSTY since the inception date of $20 a share. Let's say you bought 100 shares at $20 a share. So an initial investment of $2,000, where that investment would be today. And I did 3 scenarios: non-reinvesting the dividends that you receive, so basically taking the dividends, put them into a checking account; owning the underlying stock of MicroStrategy, so that'd be a $2,000 investment in a MicroStrategy at the date of inception of the MSTY fund; or reinvesting the dividends, so taking all the MSTY could say dividends or distributions and reinvesting them into the MSTY ETF at the current ETF price when you receive the dividend. So I did these 3 scenarios. As you can see, owning the underlying stock would have taken a $2,000 investment up to, looks like $9,659. And then clearly dividends reinvested would have also been a better option, with currently sitting at $7,153. And then just taking the dividends, putting in a checking account, we took a $2,000 up to $5,653. I will point out that I started these from the inception date of MSTY, and right off the bat, MSTY took off. So like the investment went from $2,000 to $4,000, I believe, right off the bat. Check my numbers on that, but that's why these are not starting at $2,000. And so you can see, for the most part, owning the underlying stock has been a bit better. But I guess other than when MSTY fell in September, actually taking the dividends and just keeping it in a checking account was the better option. But overall, owning the underlying stock was the best, followed by reinvesting the dividends, and then finally just keeping your dividends into a checking account. So I just want to point this out. I find this kind of stuff interesting. Perhaps you will too. I will check my numbers on this one. I think these all start at 2,000, but let me check on that. And then as far as the distribution per share, as I noted, MSTY was at $1.37. This basically just shows since its inception, or the first one that was paid in April of 2024, which is $4.12. Very stunning. But the MSTY dividends always, or the MSTY distribution, I should probably say, it's always been very significant. This one's actually looks like the lowest that it's been since inception, but constantly over, going to the high ones, over $2, even to $4 in some points. I've made this a very solid investment for those who jumped in at the inception date. And then this chart I like to show too, because what it shows here is it shows the cumulative distribution. So if you take the distribution given out every month and you keep adding them together, that's the yellow bar. And then the blue bar is the actual price of the MSTY ETF. So you add those two together to show the total return. I do take the price as of the X date. So I guess we do have the MSTY dividend that was announced, but I only include the stock price at the X date, or when you actually get the dividend. So that's why the blue bar is missing here. I will update this chart to add that, but that's just the way the code, I guess I wrote, set up. But this gives you a good visual of kind of how the MSTY ETF has performed from an initial starting price of $20 a share. And then finally, just a chart I wanted to show that, and once again, I don't include the initial one, but if you started at 100 shares and you took the dividends and you just reinvested them into MSTY, here's how your share count would grow. This assumes no further investment other than reinvesting the distributions. But you can see since the inception of the MSTY ETF, you would have grown your shares from 100 up to 289.4. So a pretty solid growth. And that does not include the most recent dividend or distribution, as I don't record that until the X date. So until you actually get the dividend or actually owe the dividend. So that bar would be coming in. So it's even higher than 289, probably around the 300. So you almost tripled your shares. And then finally, taking all these variables together, and if you really want to look at how to establish a understanding of your performance on MSTY, I would look at this green line. If you want to do apples to apples comparison to like a stock that doesn't pay a dividend or a distribution, this shows the price of the ETF plus the cumulative distribution. And then the yellow line shows the cumulative distribution. And then this blue line here actually shows the up and down ETF price of MSTY. So you can see, like, inception data was at 20. I should show this data point, but I don't bring that in. I'll think about including that next time, or next time I run one of these. But it instantly shot up to 40, and then it came down to under 20. Then it shot back up to 30s. I think it was even up at 40. I just do a monthly data point so I don't catch all like the in-between month volatility of the MSTY ETF. But now you can see right now it's down to, I think, about 20. And then this light blue line here just shows what the distributions have been over time. This is also shown in this chart here, but it shows it relative to what the ETF share price is and what the cumulative distribution is. So this gives you some insight on how to value MSTY. Hopefully you found it helpful. I can put a link to this Tableau illustration in case you want to look at it, check my numbers. But yeah, I guess we'll see where the markets go into the future. Thanks for tuning in.